Imagine you went out last night and met the most amazing girl, and you spend the night at her apartment. The next morning when you try to sneak out, you get shot and wake up laying in the same bed you just left.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Worth the Watch. So today we'll be recapping an Oscar-winning short film currently streaming on Netflix. Stay tuned to the end to catch the name of this film, but if you think you can guess the name of this film, drop it in the comments. There's also an insane plot twist at the end, so stick around for that. Special thanks to our very first channel sponsor, DopeOctober.com, the home of the cleanest and coolest limited edition hats and hoodies to keep you warm during these winter months. Starting December the 8th, you can use our promo code WorthTheWatch20 to get 20% off everything site-wise for that Christmas sale. Now let's get back to the show.
This movie follows a young cartoonist named Carter, played by rapper Joey Badass. He wakes up in the bed of a girl he just met the night before. He tries to sneak out the house, but before he's able to put his pants on, she wakes up and catches him. She's unbothered by it. In fact, she offers to grab a bite with him before he leaves, but he turned down the offer, insistent he had to get back home to his dog. She doesn't really believe him, but they decide to connect over the phone at a later time. He seems a little awkward, in my opinion, but she likes it. They exchange goodbyes and he walks out the door. He stops by the staircase to FaceTime his dog from some high-tech jar thingy that also happens to shoot out dog treats from it. Anyways, he heads downstairs and he stops to light a cigarette. Unaware that he dropped a stack of rolled up cash from his book bag, he carries on. As it turns around, he accidentally bumped into a man and spills his coffee all over him. The man seemed a little upset, but keeps walking away as Carter tries to apologize to him. A cop comes out of nowhere and starts asking random questions. He spots the stack of cash on the floor and questions Carter about its origin. Carter picks the money up and dismissively attempts to explain the money as he walks off.
Okay, so this one is a little tricky because I don't know of any police officers in America that will see that much cash in someone and let them walk away without extensive questioning. I believe the same thing in any country all over the world, but I might be wrong, so let me know in the comments.
Of course, Officer Merck tries to detain him to perform a search, but things quickly escalated when Carter resists out of confusion for why he was being picked on. The police officer throws him to the ground, and before you know it, there are a couple of more officers on the scene holding them down on the floor. Officer Merck, who initiated the confrontation, begins choking him till he slowly passes out. Here's where this movie takes a sudden twist. The moment Carter passes out, he finds himself jumping out of the bed as if he just woke up from a nightmare. This time Zaria, the girl he's laid next to, also wakes up out of shock. He explains that he must have had a bad dream and proceeds to start his day over again. He goes through the motions as he previously did, but he soon notices that everything that he had experienced was happening all over again. From the vase Zaria knocked over as she walked to the kitchen, to the man who walks into the apartment complex as he was walking out. The deja vu is not lost on him, so he stops right outside the building, takes out the cash from his book bag and stuffs it in his front jean pocket. He takes a moment to light up a cigarette before Officer Merck runs up on him again. It wasn't long before he spots the cash bulging out of his pocket and demands to search him. Carter is reluctant and a struggle between them began. Although there was a witness recording the entire incident, Officer Merck falsely insists that Carter was reaching for his gun, and then proceeds to pull said gun out and shoot him. Carter suddenly jumps out the bed, gripping his chest. He realizes that he's stuck in a time loop and isn't sure what's happening. This time around, he decides to stay and have breakfast with Zaria. They were cooking in the kitchen when they heard a knock at the door. They weren't expecting anyone, so it definitely came as a shock to them when a SWAT team knocked the door down, running in with your guns drawn, yelling for everyone to put their hands up. When Carter puts his hand up, he still had a whisker in his hands. Officer Merck confuses the whisker for a knife and shoots Carter again. Apparently, this operation was supposed to be a drug bust, but they entered into the wrong apartment unit.
Okay, so yet again, Carter wakes up on the bed frustrated. But this goes on and on and on as he attempts to break the loop. He is tempted to run, he attempts to talk to Officer Merck, and I think at one point he actually attempts to shoot Officer Merck with Zaria's gun. All attempts end up with him dying and waking up in the same bed. By the way, have you guessed the name of the movie? If you have, drop it in the comments. I want to know who's a real movie buff. But promise to not cheat. I'll drop the name of the movie at the end of this video, so stay tuned.
98 attempts later, Carter was still unable to get home to his best friend. On this attempt, Carter decides to get to know the officer, perhaps appeal to his human side. He heads downstairs and beelines straight to Officer Merck and tries to explain everything. He explains how they're both entangled in this endless time loop. Officer Merck is skeptical, but seemed amazed by how Carter is able to predict everything that happens before it does. In a last attempt to outsmart the police, Carter convinces Officer Merck to drive him home. As Carter sits in the back of the squad car, he attempts to engage in conversation with Officer Merck, asking him personal questions like why he joined the force or why civilians can't sit in front even on a ride-along. Carter is eventually able to crack his shell, and they were able to share a few laughs along the way. They pull up to Carter's house, and both of them seemed relieved that they were able to get some things off their chest. They shook hands and parted ways. If you didn't see the plot twist coming, well, you are not alone. As Carter takes a few paces towards his doorstep, Officer Merck stops him, only to reveal that this was one of the better performances in the now 99 encounters that they've had. You see, in all of this madness, Carter didn't realize that he wasn't the only one stuck in the loop. The officer then proceeds to express to Carter how much he's enjoyed this experience right before he draws his weapon and shoots him for the 99th time. Carter attempts to run, but only ends up waking up on the bed for the 100th time. There's a deeper meaning to the movie, and if you've paid any attention to the police violence that's been happening in America, then you might be able to connect the dots. I think this was a very clever way of detailing the stories of the folks who have been through this experience. As always, I don't own the rights to this film, so out of respect for the creators, I am unable to detail every last minute from this film, so definitely check it out. The name should appear on your screen shortly.
Thanks for watching. Till the next one. Peace.